In the heart of the bustling city lived Mr. Harrison, a man whose name was synonymous with wealth. His skyscraper office overlooked the entire city, a kingdom he had built from scratch. Yet on his 50th birthday, the kingdom felt more like a cage. He sat alone in a lavish restaurant, the table set for one, a bitter irony for a man who could afford to invite thousands. The city lights twinkled outside, but inside, a profound darkness had settled in his heart. For all his millions, he was utterly, painfully alone. Just a few streets away, a little girl named Lily was finishing her day. She wasn't thinking about skyscrapers or millions. Her world was much smaller, defined by the cracked pavement she skipped on and the few precious coins clutched in her hand. This was her ice cream money, saved up over a week from doing extra chores. As she passed a fancy restaurant, her eyes, wide with childhood wonder, were drawn to the man sitting alone by the window. He looked so sad, like a king in a storybook who had lost his crown. His shoulders were slumped and his gaze was fixed on nothing. Lily had seen that look before on people who felt forgotten. She watched him for a moment, her brow furrowed with concern. Then a thought sparked in her mind. Her mother always said, "A little sweetness can fix almost anything." She looked from the sad man to the bakery across the street, its window filled with colorful cakes and pastries. She then glanced down at the coins in her hand. It was a tough decision for a 7-year-old, her week worth of sweet anticipation versus a stranger's sadness. But her heart, unburdened by the complexities of the adult world, made the choice for her. With a determined nod, she turned and marched toward the bakery. Inside, the warm smell of sugar and vanilla wrapped around her. "Excuse me," she said, her voice small but clear as she stood on her tiptoes to see over the counter. She pointed to the smallest cupcake, a simple vanilla one with a single swirl of pink frosting. "How much for that one, please?" The baker told her the price. Lily carefully counted out her coins onto the counter. It was every last one she had. "And, could you put a candle on it? It's for a birthday." The baker, intrigued, obliged without question, lighting the tiny candle before handing it to her. Lily carefully carried the cupcake, shielding the fragile flame with her small hands. She walked back to the restaurant and, mustering all her courage, pushed open the heavy glass door. She walked straight to Mr. Harrison's table. "Excuse me, sir," she began, her voice trembling slightly. Mr. Harrison looked up, startled from his lonely reverie. He saw a small girl with bright, earnest eyes holding a tiny cupcake with a flickering candle. He was speechless, utterly bewildered. Who was this child? What did she want? "I saw you sitting here all by yourself," Lily said softly, placing the cupcake on his table. "My mom says no one should be alone on their birthday." Mr. Harrison stared at the cupcake, then at the girl. His mind, usually occupied with stock prices and business mergers, couldn't process this simple, unexpected act of kindness. How did you know it was my birthday?" he asked, his voice raspy. Lily just shrugged. "You looked like you needed a wish," she replied with a simple, innocent logic that disarmed him completely. A wave of emotion he hadn't felt in decades washed over him. He thought of his own childhood, of birthdays filled with laughter and cheap homemade cakes that tasted better than any gourmet dessert he'd had since. He had traded all of that for boardrooms and balance sheets. This little girl, a complete stranger, had just shown him more genuine care than anyone had in years. The walls he had built around his heart began to crumble. This tiny cupcake, bought with what he would later learn were her last few coins, felt more valuable than all the assets in his portfolio. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice softer now. "Lily," she said. "Well, Lily," he said, a genuine smile spreading across his face for the first time in what felt like a lifetime. "This is the best birthday gift I've ever received, but it's not fair for me to eat it all by myself. Would you do me the honor of sharing it with me?" Lily's face lit up. She pulled up a chair and sat opposite the millionaire. He blew out the candle, making a silent wish not for more wealth or success, but for more moments just like this one. They shared the small cupcake, and in that shared moment of simple sweetness, Mr. Harrison felt a joy that all his money could never buy. He wasn't a lonely millionaire anymore, he was just a man sharing a birthday cake with a new friend. Curious about the little girl who had so profoundly touched his heart, Mr. Harrison had his assistant look into her family. He discovered that Lily and her single mother were struggling, barely making ends meet in a tiny apartment. The knowledge that she had given him her last bit of money, her only treat for the week, struck him with immense force. Her generosity wasn't born from abundance, but from a deep, innate kindness that existed despite her own hardship. This realization was a turning point for him. It was a stark reminder of the man he once was, before ambition had clouded his vision and isolated him from the world. From that day forward, Mr. Harrison changed. He sought out Lily and her mother, not with grand, empty gestures of charity, but with a genuine desire to help. He offered Lily's mother a stable job with a good salary and set up a college fund for Lily, ensuring her future was as bright as her heart. But his transformation didn't stop there. He began to see the world through new eyes, noticing the loneliness in others and the power of small connections. He started a foundation dedicated to supporting underprivileged children and families, using his vast resources to spread the kindness that a little girl had shown him. His life was no longer about accumulating wealth, but about sharing it. He learned that true richness isn't measured by the numbers in a bank account, but by the love you give and receive. It was a lesson delivered by a 7-year-old girl and a single cupcake. A simple, profound reminder that no matter how deep the emptiness, it can always be filled by a small act of kindness. The encounter didn't just change his day, it redefined his entire existence, proving that the purest hearts often hold the greatest treasures. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more uplifting content. We'd love to have you as part of our community. See you in the next video.